Hello, and welcome to the Color Whisperer. And today is Makeover Friday. One of my favorite things to do is makeover. Now, I usually do rooms, but I like to just kind of get in touch with people and what does a makeover really do? So maybe it's a new hairdo, maybe it's a new outfit. This is one of my favorite outfits. I have to tell you, I've had it for a long time. I've probably had it for longer than most people would want to admit. But I tell you, every time I put it on, I feel like $1,000,000 in this. It's like it was made just for me. And that's what it's all about, right? We need to feel pretty. I don't care if you're a guy or a girl, maybe you feel handsome, doesn't matter. This is part of how we go out into the world with confidence, as knowing that we feel good. And part of feeling good is looking good, right? Because, okay, we all had our COVID outfit, right? And, there were days it's like, okay, I'm not going out anywhere. I'm not seeing anybody. You know, all I did yesterday was hang around the house. Do I even need a shower today? Well, maybe not, but the question went through your head, right? And I was like, oh, another day of sweats. At first, it was kind of nice, right? I mean, I've worked from home for a long time. So, the working at home in your sweats was not a big deal for me. But it was so nice to get out and get dressed up. And I remember the first time I went somewhere where I got to put on a dress, I was like, oh, this is exciting. I haven't done this in a long time. Kind of forgot what it felt like to be a girl. You know what I mean? It's just like to feel that femininity of wearing a dress. And so it was so nice to put on my dress and my heels. And I was like, wow, this is awesome. So today we're going to talk a little bit about room makeover. So even the Color Whisperer comes into challenges at times. Now, I've been talking about this wall behind me for a while now. It's driving me nuts because what I see on camera here is it just looks really dull and boring. And that can't be. I'm the Color Whisperer, for crying out loud. We can't have boring walls. And while it served its purpose for what it's doing, the purpose of this room is a little bit different. I have that gorgeous picture over there, and the wall's just flat. So we're waiting for a guest. So while we're waiting, I'm going to show you some of my things that I'm looking at with this. Now, I do love the sofa behind me and the drapes. And I'll be honest with you, redoing all that probably is not in the cards at this moment. But it doesn't mean we can't do a makeover, because paint is the biggest impact and the most amazing thing. So let's see. Oh, it's upside down. See, I was playing with it earlier. All right. So let's see how much you can see. I have my handy dandy paint deck. I feel like a tarot reader sometimes. Let me consult my deck. This color. So I've been playing with some colors, and what's really interesting on this fabric, how can I show this to you? Okay, let's see what we can do. So what's really interesting on this fabric is the undertones. There's actually some green in here. And the undertones, so it doesn't look green, but there's like a green undertone there. And it's really interesting. But there's also we've got the burgundy, so there's like these little pink undertones here. And then there's some, so I'm looking at this, maybe pulling this right here, so maybe pulling out a little bit of orange. I'm like, I want something different. Now, originally I painted these walls. It was this really pretty Bronco brown, rich brown. It was so gorgeous. Maybe I should just go find the Bronco brown again, because I loved that. But then over that was this magenta glaze that I put on in X's. It was a beautiful treatment. And my ex had high blood pressure, and it wasn't good for the high blood pressure. So I painted it this color. But you know what? He ain't here no more. And I don't have high blood pressure. So I can do whatever I want, right? All right. So I'm looking at this kind of color. This is bright, right? But it's feeling kind of heavy for me. So we kept looking. I'm looking at maybe some yellow, maybe some orange. So this was a color I played with, and look at that. You can't even see the color. It's not working out. It wasn't right. Love this color. Look at how beautiful that accentuates the fabric. It's stunning. Do I want the wall to be red? Again, it's just feeling a little dark and heavy. Now, I wouldn't mind the molding being that color. Wouldn't mind that at all, because I love it as an accent color. And maybe do one wall. Oh, look, you can kind of see some of my paint samples. Yeah. Let's see. Can you see some paint samples on the wall there? There we go. Yeah. So I'm playing. I've got a couple samples up on the wall, and you can kind of see we're not quite there yet. It's close, but we're not quite there yet. So I thought, well, maybe I'd do some dark browns. And again, and maybe we pull out a little bit of this color. But they're okay, but when it's right, it's almost like it sings. There's just this like, oh wow. You know? There's this wow, and it's like you just know when it's right. So I think I may have found the right color. So this is yeah, that didn't help. Okay. All right. So this is a really interesting brown. It's got a little bit of the green undertones. And I don't want to match this color because I think the wall needs to be different, because otherwise it's just all going to blend. That's why I don't like the ones that you can see on the wall over there, because they're just is blending too much, and it needs to be a little bit different. But there's some green undertones here that I really like. And it's got kind of a yellow too. So it pulls out the yellow tones that I want. And when we put that up against the wood, let's see. Can you see that? You can't see that. Okay. Well, anyway, I'm going to put that against the wood. It's going to really be beautiful. Because when you put yellow next to wood, it just does something rich with it. Just one second. Oh, hang on. I have a guest coming, and she is stuck. Okay, got her unstuck. So sometimes you do got to take a couple tries. And the key thing too is the light is different. So sometimes one of the things I did with this is I actually took it outside. I wanted to see it in the sunlight. But the light, and then I brought it back in. I'm like, oh, okay, I still like it. So that's the trick, is do it in really good light. But keep in mind the light that you have in your room is really how it's going to be. And how much color that light, how much that. Okay, here we go. So one of the great myths out there in DIY world is that white makes everything look bigger. It's not white. It's how much light does the color reflect. So yellow reflects a lot of light. So anytime you add yellow to something, it's really going to reflect light. Now there's other colors that reflect light too, but yellow, just innately it happens. And all woods have a little bit of yellow in them. It might be red, but there's the green. There's colors in the grains, and there's different. So maybe it's a red color, but the undertones of it, there's yellow. So maybe you've got a pine floor, or maybe your floor's got some orange tones to it. There are some gray floors. Those don't have very much yellow. I don't think those are very natural, though. But all the brown tones, there's a little bit of yellow, and when you put yellow next to them, it sparkles. It brings out the undertones of the wood, and it looks really, really amazing. So those are some tricks, and you can kind of see those colors, like they're okay, but they're blending too much. And the color that's on the wall behind me, I like the contrast, but it's just feeling flat. It needs something more alive, because when I designed this room, when I picked out that color, both my ex and I shared this office, and we're different seasons. We needed different colors. So that's another question I get a lot is, well, how do you do when like opposites attract, right? So one person needs certain colors, shapes, textures. The other person needs something else. So the picture is for me. The fabric, he loved birds. I need a lot of texture. Look at my jacket, look at my hair. I got lots of texture. So the fabric had the texture that I needed, even though it was, and the red is really more his red than my red. But the beigey color, that was more my color. And then the wall colors it was a little bit of mix. Brown's not really his color, but it's a very subdued brown versus a brown that's got a lot more life to it, like the one I just picked out. So it's finding the middle of where they meet. That's really what it's all about. It's finding that middle point. So for me, that picture now is my focal point, the picture and the fabric. And what do I want to pull out? Now, when I put that color that I just showed you up next to the picture, all those trees come to life, right? And that's going to bring the room more to life as well. So you want to, when you're looking at pictures, you want to pull something out that maybe the lesser color. Now, if I was a different season, if I wanted a different feel in here, I might pull out the blue, but I'm not a blue person. I'm more of a green person. There's blue people and green people. And you know which one you are, because what's your favorite color? Blue? You're a blue person. Green? Green person. If you love going to the ocean and when you're really stressed, it's like, oh, I just need water. I need to go to the ocean. I need to go to the lake. I need to go to the river. If that's what restores you, then you're a blue person. If you love going for hikes, you love going to the mountains, you love just going and sitting next to a tree, maybe actually doing some tree hugging. It's not so bad. You can do a lot of communication with a tree, actually, just by sitting next to it and letting it talk to you. I remember the 6th grade, my teacher brought us all to a park that was very close to school. So we all walked over there, and she just had us sit under the trees and, just really enjoy nature. And it was really special. You got to feel a part of nature that we take for granted. So if going out into nature like that and doing, seeing the trees, seeing the mountains, if that's what gives you joy and restores you, you're a green person. If you love plants, if you love gardening, and you've got plants all over your house, green everywhere, then you might be a green person. And if you still don't know, go in your closet, because you either have a lot of blue or you have a lot of green. So anyway, most people know if they're blue people or green people. I'm a green person. So that picture actually doesn't have any green in it, but when I saw it, it was perfect for this room. It's got the red tones, but it's also got oranges and golds, and it does have a little bit of green. It's not like that emerald green, but it's more of a murky green. And so it's really important to have the colors all play together. So, all right. So we are about to meet one of my favorite people. Her name is Dana Marie. And we're going to be talking about hair makeovers. And she is an expert hairstylist. And I'm going to give her this chair. So come on in. Have a seat. So welcome, Dana Marie. All right. So let's just make
Hello,
sure
everyone.
we can see both of us. There we go.
Hi.
Hi, how are you? So good to see you.
It's great to see you. You look gorgeous.
Well, I have an amazing
Hey.
hair color. I have an amazing hairdresser. She did my hair. I went to her, it's been about a year, hasn't it?
Yeah.
And I've been trying to grow my hair for a long time because I've always had really short hair. And I was like, I need help because it just looks messy. And I have naturally wavy hair. And I said, I need help. And she helped. So I'm going to look up here. There we go. All right. So tell them a little bit about what you do. And like, okay, I came in with my mess of shag, because that's what it was.
All right. This is my favorite way to work with people. First, you have the consultation. The consultation is like the most important thing. As you well know, with the Color Whisperer, same thing. The consultation, getting to know the client's needs and what kind of client they are.
Yes.
Are they a no maintenance client,
Uh-huh.
a low maintenance client,
That's
or
me.
a high maintenance client? Because getting the color and the cut that's right for you all depends on those three factors. Next, hair goals, what they want, their goals, and how to get to their goals. And the number one thing I tell people when they want to let their hair grow is, you got to see me more often. You got to cut your hair more. And no, it doesn't make any sense. But when you come in more often and you are diligent with a goal to get your hair cut, I trim those nasty ends, and then the breakage doesn't happen. The length starts to happen. And all of a sudden, you see me more and your hair is twice as long. I know it makes no sense, but it's extremely important for people with color treated hair and naturally curly hair. Oh my God, we're naturally drier. We are born with curl. It means the reflection from the sun happens throughout the top to the ends. Amplified with color, highlights, no maintenance, and a lot of sun worshiping or outdoorsy kind of personality, you need a regime and you need education from the kind of stylist that will help you get to where you need to go.
Yeah, I'm a difficult person when it comes to getting my hair done, because I don't have a lot of patience. And the cool thing is my hair is naturally wavy. And so I don't actually have to spend hours curling it. I can just kind of fluff it up a little bit. So I'm very spoiled. I know.
It's a blessing. It's such a blessing to have her hair. It's beautiful. It's gorgeous to work, easy to work with. This natural curl will save you time, and it'll keep your hair healthy as long as we have a relationship and I get those ends off, and then the flat doesn't happen. Because, just like everything else, if you want your hair to be fuller, you have to layer it. If you don't layer it, it's more all one length. So the curls don't bounce up like they used to.
And when it's cut right, it takes me like 5 minutes to do my hair. Seriously. When it's not cut right, then it just kind of sits there and looks ugly, honestly, because I don't have the patience to do what needs to be done to make it, I mean, you got to sit there with a lot of curling irons and teasing it. And that's not who I am. So tell me, what do you do when you start looking at somebody's hair? Like, how do you decide what kind of cut to give them?
Well, actually, after the consultation, it's depending on the client, because there's two types of clients. So the clients who want the complete control of everything, and they want to build trust through time. So they want to make sure I'm not going to chop their hair off, and they know that I say what I mean and I mean what I say. So I have to respect that, because everyone has a hair story, a nightmare that the relationship wasn't good, or you have that diva stylist who doesn't listen to you. You say you want this image, you want this. There's no explanation. They just do what they want, and then they charge you however they want to charge you. And $500 later, there was no explanation. There was no education to the client. Well, do you realize that you're going to have to see me every month now? Are you willing to commit financially to that, because it's not going to grow out well? No, I don't want to see you every month. I'm like, every quarter maybe. I'm like, okay, balayage or a different technique might be better for you. Then you
That's
show
a long time between haircuts.
Right. So you want to show them the image. You want them to show you some images where they like the hair. And then you look at them and go, okay, you have 3 strands and she has 10,000 strands. And then you have to give them the bad news. Well, that's probably more of an investment. There may be extensions. There may be hair topper. This is not what you think it is. And then I have to let them know, and this is a photograph. This isn't real life. You wake up and it doesn't look like this. Yeah, because just saying.
It takes them like an hour and a half to do all
They've
that.
got a team of professionals. Right? There's a stylist on board, a makeup artist. There's lighting. There's a lot going on. There's a lot going on behind the scenes in a photograph session. So that being said, it's something to consider. So it's once you see what they want, and then you have to come to an agreement. Well, this is your hair type. Her hair type is, she has like hair for 3 people. We have hair for 1 person. And look at the hairline area. And, we have to give them the bad news.
She's very gentle though.
Right. But then once you show them an image of a person who has their hair type and what it could look like, then you start like, okay, well, if this is where I need to go with this, then, I need to let them know, because that's what being a really master stylist type personality is. You've got years of experience, and you really don't want them to, go out of the salon with hot fuchsia hair if they don't know what they're going to look like.
And you have people that come and ask for that.
No, because this is the season, you guys. It's Coachella. So, fairy dust, braids, glitter on the scalp. I mean, a lot of stuff happens, and you can be the kind of stylist that you can actually hire out and you do Coachella hair and braids and stuff. But I just don't. That's not my favorite client. My favorite client is a Jeanette type of client.
I just come in and say, make me pretty.
A professional with beautiful hair, not thinning hair, natural curly hair. And I get to make it look pretty. That is like oh my God, that is the ideal per person in my chair, because it's like, I don't have to permit. Color's an option. It's not a have to, it's an option. It's nice to have options. As a professional woman in business, it's nice to have options. And then knowing her personality, knowing she doesn't want to spend 5 hours on her hair. She wants to have a hairstyle or a haircut that she can literally wash and wear, put some product, plump it up with her hands, and it's in sync. Yeah. That is a great and wonderful way to do business, because you're working with the person's hair personality. So that is how I do it.
The hair has a personality?
Yes, just like the person behind it has a personality.
Tell us more about that.
Okay. All right. Well, some personalities, I don't know if you've ever been in foggy or humid weather.
Oh, my hair just curls up like crazy.
Right? So that could be a good thing or a bad thing. So depending on how you wear your hair, that's what a hair personality is. So are you frizzy? Are you fuzzy? Do you look like a saint on any humid hair day? Do you completely transform? Do you hate heat? Can you tolerate heat? Do you do yoga? Does your hair have to be off your face when you do workouts? These are real important things, because the person's lifestyle reflects the hairstyle. And if I give a person who has a very active lifestyle, a very busy professional, fringe or a bang, and they are not prepared to deal with the daily maintenance of it, and it becomes more work for them to put it in their routine on their Peloton, on their running, it becomes problematic. So then they have to put hair toys and pin it up and headbands, all sorts of different fun things. You've got to let them know that. You've got to give them, you've got to have that conversation.
I had a hairdresser one time, and she wanted to give me this almost 50s haircut. And, you know, we were teasing the back and making it go up and doing all this stuff up here. And I was like, first of all, I didn't really love the look when it was done, but it was so much work.
A lot of hairspray.
And it just was like, it didn't feel like me. You know, I mean, this is simple, but it's got a lot of texture. That was one thing I said, I need more texture. I need more texture.
Right.
So we got it. And it was, you know, but it feels like me. And it's very easy for me to do. I literally can just let it air dry and you know, fluff it up with some stuff.
And that's great. Isn't that the best
it is.
and easiest way to?
So we have a question. What's your opinion of hair dye on gray hair?
I think it's, do you like your gray hair or you don't like your gray hair? It's that simple. Do you feel like an old lady with gray hair?
Yeah.
Or do you feel hot and beautiful? And hey, if you want to color your hair, color your hair. I think it's, again, a personal choice. I do not, when I first meet a client, I don't badger the witness. Oh, you got to color your hair. You know, I don't manipulate them like that. That's why the consultation's important. Gray hair is great for someone who wants gray hair. Now, if it doesn't look good on you.
I was 15.
Okay.
My first hair, my friend pulled out. I was 15 years old. And like,
no. Never pull out your gray hair. Never. Because as you age, you're going to want that hair. You're going to want that hair, and you're going to want it real bad because your hair thins out. That being said, gray hair. Okay, back to your question. I am a personal person-to-person stylist. So there's not one solution for everyone. So once the consultation's over, and that person has, let's just say they have an annoying gray streak that they don't like. Well, I'm not going to color your whole hair. I'm going to find a specific solution for you. Maybe I'll use a demi just around your hairline and we'll make it look like highlights. Maybe we'll just focus on that little gray spot and leave the hair alone. I'm not going to throw you into a high maintenance hair coloring situation unless you want to be in it. So I need your permission, and I need to educate you on your personal responsibility. Then you have to purchase paraben-free, sulfate-free shampoos. It's like a different lifestyle. Then you can't be in chlorinated water without washing it every single time it gets dunked in there. So there's lots of rules to hair color. So with gray hair, it's like it depends on the client. Everyone has a different want.
Tell us about that transformation when the client gets in your chair.
Well, that's my favorite part, right? Because I feel like when you have the gift of transformation for someone and they're coming to you, they just graduated from, and they got their master's, they're getting, you know, they want to go into the big new world again, into the job force and make their 6-figure income. Your responsibility is great. And it's so exciting to be a part of that. And so when someone, or retiring, whatever it is.
But you're creating an image.
Right. And you're like, okay, what kind of business are you going to be in? You have that, how do you want to maintain your look? You know, then I ask them those questions, and then I get to take them from maybe a really long hairstyle into something very professional looking, easy to maintain, shiny, pretty, very put together, that they can still have fun with on the weekends and put it up and go off for their run. So,
and new mommies got it because babies go after that hair like crazy.
It has to be put up.
Yeah.
There's certain rules. Like when you're a new mother, you have to have your hair long enough to put up in a bun. And most of my clients work out. So they're doing yoga, they're running, and they're running around. So there are a lot of moving parts to their life. And we all know most of us cook. And most of us clean, So that being said, who wants fringe while you're perspiring, while you're doing your workout? You need it long enough. I actually measure. I said, okay, you want it to be long enough, right? To be able to put up into your bun.
Yes.
That. So usually the sweet spot is like right behind the ear, because if you're in a rush and you don't want to deal with your fringe, you could at least do the tuck.
Yeah. We had issues with my fringe because I can't handle it in my eyes. And it got to a point where it was constantly going in my eye. And I was like, I don't care what you do, but keep the air out of my eye.
Right.
So Mark has got several questions.
Oh, hi,
so
Mark.
Why don't you come on in and ask them? Because I'm not sure I understand all of them. But come on in and you can ask some questions.
I'll pop in. How are you doing? It's a pleasure having you. Yeah, I've definitely got the gray hair, and it actually came in life later and all in that space. I was saying one of the questions that it was not so much a question as a statement, but I'd love to hear your thoughts about it, is how the hair industry has helped in a lot of societies. Because I know that I'm here in Durham, and Durham has a reputation of being a African-American Wall Street. And part of that environment was that the hair industry was one of the cornerstones of the economic growth in that community. And I know that it's also been the cornerstone of a lot of Hispanic cultures as well. So I just wondered if you could think about the economic impact that the hair industry has had on certain cultures in our society.
Good question. Well, it's like one of the actual longest surviving institutions in history. No matter what you do, the film and the hairstyling business seem to thrive because there's an actual physical response of feeling better when you go in to see a stylist. You get touched and you see yourself before and you see yourself after, and it lifts someone's psyche and lifts their spirit. And sometimes when, like through the pandemic, many of us suffered a great deal in that situation. We were alone, we were isolated, we felt, fearful. We may have been seniors, we may have had children. We were just, a lot of mental health problems happened during that time. And we're still feeling and seeing the negative backlash from that. So being able to help people through that. I was doing hair in backyards, outdoors, in porches, and poolside. At 5 a.m. if I had to avoid the heat. We got creative. I wore a mask. We were outside. We did things a little differently, but I would come in and I would cut everybody's hair, and their whole mental well-being was just lifted. Yeah. It was a great experience knowing that I could provide that for them and thrive.
Yeah.
No doubt about that.
Not just being held hostage to the state and how the state, because I've never ever been on the dole in my entire life. I've never been on welfare. I've never gone to a situation. I've always been self-employed and worked. So this was the second time I've ever been out. The first time was 34 years ago when I was pregnant and had a child. I've been in charge of my own business ever since. So
amazing. Mark, are you telling us that the Durham industry is hair care? Am I understanding that?
In Durham, which is one of the in Durham, North Carolina, which is one of the historical Black Wall Streets. There are several Black Wall Streets. Tulsa has one as well. Definitely Durham has one. Seneca, New York has one. I think there's one in Florida. But yes, because of the nature of the industry and because a lot of folks, including some of the robber barons of society at that time, like the Dukes and folks like that, one of the industries that was encouraged and it was very much encouraged in those communities was the hair industry. Ironically, the other business that also deals with our health and even our imagery that was also part of that community and various communities in society was the funeral home business, because of course you have to get the hair designed even at that last transition and everything. So those kind of
It's
businesses.
a job. It's a true job that will
Yeah.
last a lifetime. You might have to edit who you're working on,
Right.
but depending on what you're doing, and now we're working and coloring many more men.
Mhm.
You
Nope,
know,
I can see that. But yeah, the other thing that I was curious about, and that's the other thing I was referring to is, but one, I had to share a story with you. A friend of mine that lives, I want to say in Vegas, but they've also done work in Vegas and Arizona, but they are of the, I want to say maybe the German background or something like that. But they complain sometimes when the weather is of a certain kind of humidity that they get what they call, quote unquote, the Viking Afro, because it definitely has the weather impact as well. So
it does. Humidity is a game changer for all of us, women and men, depending on if you have long hair, short hair.
Yeah.
It can make you or break you. You want to be able to put your hair up and cool off as much as you can. And your hair is, you might be, some people are okay with a relaxed, curly, wild look.
Right.
I'm not. I feel like a wild woman.
It doesn't suit your personality.
Well, I mean, I had that moment, I had a moment. It was in the 80s, but now that I'm aging, the moment is fallen.
Well, that's the other question I was going to ask, and I don't know if you saw that one that I put in the chat, but I do know that sometimes we of a certain age, and I'm in my early 60s now, and I don't have any kids, but I do have my two nephews, and sometimes the kids and the young people in our lives want us to be hipper or have a certain style, so they will sometimes try to encourage you to get a style that doesn't necessarily fit the age. So I just wondered your
Right.
thoughts about that, because I do know that some
We
kids
wouldn't
will
let
want
my
you to.
mother-
Well, I always say indulge them.
Yeah.
Go get your hair dyed a certain fun color and stuff, and have a little fun and shock them, and then they'll realize, okay, maybe that wasn't such a good idea. And maybe you might get 10 dates out of it. Who knows? This is why semi-permanent color for men is encouraged, because you can do a 5-minute something at the shampoo bowl and it blends it a little bit and brings it a little darker, but not dark. You don't
Right.
want that fake look like
Yeah.
shoe polish.
Right.
And when you perspire, it's coming down your face. Look.
Yeah, you don't want that. Do you ever have to discourage people because of the rules and regulations that are out there as well? Because I do know some people that like their ethnic styles, but not every corporation likes the ethnic styles. Because I do know some people that run across problems because they have had dreads or they've had other kinds of ethnic styles, and some
See, and
corporations
that's
are not
just,
the biggest fans of that.
I don't like all that, but when in Rome, do what the Romans do, of
Yeah.
course. Like if I'm going to a reggae concert, I want to look a little fun, But that's why I love wigs.
Right.
I'm a wig girl, so, But I know that's just. This is what I say: if you're going to go there, be hygienic.
Right.
And be mindful of what you do, because whatever you do, your hair smells of
Right.
what you do.
Right.
So, and that is impolite.
Right.
So, whatever the system is, use peppermint oil or something to, make sure that you always look and smell beautiful.
No, that makes a lot of sense. Jeanette brought up an interesting point as well, which was during the pandemic. I don't know, because we got so comfortable that sometimes, I was actually talking to some friends of mine about this, that you might get so comfortable that you didn't do as much as you used to do. Because I know some folks that they used to regularly shampoo their hair, like with their regular kind of shampooing. And then when we got into this whole pandemic, there have been people that have gone weeks on end without necessarily shampooing their hair. So I was
Right.
wondering, as a stylist, how often do you think that folks should be taking care of their hair in that system, or is it more of a personal choice? Because there are some folks that want to do it
First
daily.
of all, where do you work?
Right.
Does it smell? And is it affecting your environment?
Yeah.
So you always have to think hygiene, number one.
Right.
Number two, are you color treated?
Right.
If you're color treated, you do not have to shampoo every day. And, what are your habits? Do you smoke? Do you smoke cigars? Do you smoke other things? Are you in an environment where your actual hair is going to smell like your environment? Those are environmental factors that you have to factor into your lifestyle.
Yep.
And if so, protect your hair, maybe wear something to protect it. Never let it just be free flowing, because your environment is going to be affected. Your hair will reflect, and so will some of your clothes. So it's super important. And depression
Okay.
is it's a crystal clear sign. It's a red flag when somebody's that lax about their
Mhm.
cleaning behavior. It is usually the first sign of, are you
Yeah.
depressed?
It's true.
So it's a mental health thing. So, but then again, we were brought up with, I don't know how to explain it. Let me think. We were brought up with courtesies.
Mm-hmm.
We were brought up with ethics and social ethics. So I was raised that there are certain things that we do not do in public,
Right.
as a young lady or as a person of a certain status.
Mm-hmm.
And, smoking, drinking, these sort of things are done in certain spaces and places at certain times, but not just free willy. So, these children of today, or the youth of today, though they were not educated like we were.
Mm-hmm.
We have a personal responsibility to pass that torch onto them and give them some straight talk. And I think just have them sit up, invite them over, and very relaxed and fun, and have some gorgeous girl or handsome man give them a sniff test
Yep. You got to
and
do that.
smell their breath.
Mm-hmm.
Oral hygiene, look at your teeth. Do you have food in your teeth? Things that these kids just are completely unaware of. And who are you going to hire? Someone with a bright smile, whose teeth are cleaned and has this like effervescent personality and is looking at you, or someone who's going to be all
Right.
No.
It's a big difference. So it's our society needs to put this in college, in like a college sessions.
Well, and the kids don't know. I've had several clients who are managers or business owners, and they're like, the kids don't know how to dress. And, I remember
there's like
Ally McBeal. Remember Ally McBeal?
Yes.
And they had all these lawyers, and they're wearing like these super short skirts, and the shirt's down to here.
And in a real law office, they discourage
you
that.
would never do that in a real law office, but this is what the kids are seeing as professional, and it's not right. And then they go to work, and like they're wearing cutoffs and exposed bellies. Their shirts are really short, and it's like, that's not professional.
And even in the new environment, it's not professional, because there's a lot of folks that, and by the new environment, I mean the hybrid environment, you still have to have that presentation, even if you're on a Zoom call or some of these business calls. But you do have some folks that have
at least
definitely gotten that,
right?
or at least have the camera off if you're not going to do it and on that space. But there are some folks that are not doing that and are being very casual in their attitude, even in their quote unquote business attitude. So
the same with my profession. There are some people who are just, it's not right, but I am selling a hair. I'm selling my work.
Right.
I'm not selling the way I look as a point of sale. And some, because of social media, they're on a different path. They've been taught by social media influencers what they should look like, and what kind of lips they should have, and what kind of eyebrows they should paint on. And we all had these images before us growing up, but they get it 24/7. It doesn't stop.
Right.
So it's like ongoing. Every moment they can follow someone and follow their changes.
Can you give us some tips on how to make sure that we have good hair?
Yeah.
Okay.
I always tell people, take a picture of yourself and really look at it. Look at it and look at your flaws, and make sure you're smiling. Make sure you can see the inside of your nose, and and then you look at it and say, would I buy $100,000 worth of stocks from this person?
Yeah.
Would I allow this person to open me up? Would I allow this person, would I donate $10,000 to their charity? You have to remember that at the end of the day, your beautiful heart needs to be seen. And part of that is in this little box
Mhm.
where everyone's staring at you. And if someone is telling you to update, try it. If it's been 10 years since you got new glasses, a wardrobe, if you're not married, it's a little different. You need someone, you need like a gal pal who's going to like take you shopping and be that person to go, what do you think? Do you think this color looks good on me? Should I go dark and khaki? Or, we all need friends
Yeah.
who love us so much, they're going to go, that's not very flattering. The flamingo shirt. I go,
Get rid of the flamingo shirt. Yeah, you definitely got to have those friends. I don't know if Jeanette noticed that because I was running a little bit behind, and I know she's got to get ready to go to an appointment, so I'm going to turn it over to you two ladies for the closeout very shortly. But actually, I went to see my barber this past weekend because I try to see him on a regular basis and all in that space. He's actually a Muslim brother here in Durham, North Carolina. It's not the same faith that I belong to, but he is one of two barbers that I've gone to, but I've been going to Mr. Boyd now for several years. I sometimes tease him because of my busy schedule, I am sometimes overdue. So sometimes I will set the appointment, then I'll cancel the appointment, have to reset the appointment. So by the time I've seen him, I'm starting to look more like Santa Claus in another image that I don't
right. And have a little fun with this too. You could always have fun with your beard.
Right.
You can have like a different style beard, like a goatee, or and see if you get more likes from your friends.
I'd have to do that, but yes, I know when I trimmed it down.
Your summer look.
There you
go. I got the summer look when I saw Mr. Boyd, and because I just had that appointment this past Saturday, so it's been less than a weekend all in that space. But yeah, I try to see him on a regular basis. Sometimes it is longer than needed be, because I know that some folks will say that they try to see their barber about at least once every 2 to 3 weeks, even though sometimes I might go a month and then get a little bit too gruffy. And I do know some women that literally have their appointments on a weekly basis and all in that space. So I just wondered, what do you suggest is the average time to try to get that hair appointment? Do you try to do it?
If you can afford it, I think every 3 weeks is really good for summer. Get on a schedule. Say, I want to be a regular 3 week, including my beard. And you'll notice that there's a difference in how you feel about yourself, and you will notice it's cooler through the summer because Carolina, you know what that means.
Yeah, it's a lot cooler. You're right about that. And the thing that he does whenever he cuts my hair, which I took a while to get used to because he is a very efficient barber, is they make sure that they don't just get the hair on the head and definitely the facial hair, but he will also go into the ears because yes, there is hair that grows in the ear,
and he will also do it.
Huh?
My ex would never do that, and I'm like, I'd be picking. I'm like,
right.
You need to do this.
That's what I mean. And the nose.
He also goes into the nose. He also goes into the nose as well.
Yeah, because if you're gonna kiss somebody and you get a little, ooh, it's up my nose.
Right. Exactly.
So Dana, why don't you give your information out if somebody is local and needs to like to work with you?
Sure. I work in Arcadia, California, and I'm very close to where she lives. And our demographic is really close to the Santa Anita racetrack. We're right off of Huntington Drive and directly across the street from the Outback, and like you could walk to the Derby, which is 100-year-old restaurant. But I work at a salon. It's called Serenity Salon and Spa on Wednesdays, Fridays, and Saturdays, and I'm text friendly, so I could probably put my text number in the chat.
Yeah, please do, and I'll make a banner about that really quickly.
I'll just say it. The phone number is 626-208-7572. Dana Marie Hairstylista. That's my tag on Instagram. You can follow me, and it's a pleasure to meet you. Everybody have a great day.
She is truly amazing.
She looks truly amazing. And all of that. You mentioned, just as the last question from me, you did say earlier that you will have customers that are there in California. We are a global network, and of course, we've got people even in the film industry from both North Carolina and other places. So if they want a consultation, will you at least do consultations for those that are elsewhere?
I do consultations via Zoom. or
Okay.
FaceTime or even Google Chat. I do, yes, I can definitely do that. And that's a fun conversation. And I recommend it. Like all my consultations I do via Zoom, FaceTime, because I'm an Apple girl. So, and the way I get paid is usually Apple Pay or Venmo. And I do not do Zelle, but I still take cash and checks. But if you don't want to do it that way, you can at least pay me, Apple Pay, or, most people have some sort of a virtual system, paperless system to pay. So thank you so much. It's a great opportunity. And yes, they can have a consultation with me and they can communicate via text. I'm text friendly. I am not the phone girl. I'm a text girl.
Sounds great. So I'm going to turn it over to y'all to wrap it all up. I know y'all were doing that anyway, and I know Jeanette's got to get to her appointment, but I'm definitely looking forward to having more conversations with you. It's a fun conversation, and hopefully folks from North Carolina and around the world will
Hi,
be reaching out to you.
everybody. I love the South.
It is really beautiful there,
Oh,
isn't
it
it?
is. It is. It's a great place to visit.
All right. Well, thank you very much for being with us.
Thank you so much.
It's
It was
awesome
so
to see you.
Nice to see you.
And
Outside
here,
the salon.
outside the salon, yes. And we're here both. It's all about makeovers. So if you need a makeover, we got lots of ways for you to do it. You got to be pretty. You got to feel pretty. All right. Thank you so much.
Have a great day.
Bye.
You know how people love to enjoy food and don't understand how to flavor their food or how to replicate a meal? They're interested in supplements but don't know where to begin? Well, what I do is I take the guesswork out of enjoying flavor and wellness with my flavorful spice blends so that they can create delicious meals with healing benefits. Can Do Spice was created to help cooks at any level enjoy healing through food. Every spice blend was designed to give added health benefits of natural herbs. Every blend is complete. There's no need to add any additional spice for a delicious meal. Saving you time and money while adding supplements to your meals can be both tasty and fun. My earliest memories in the kitchen began with my father, Kenny Can Do Bond, so it was fitting that I would name this line after him. I have always looked to natural remedies to supplement the body, and I found myself hiding herbs and minerals in foods for my family. That's when it hit me. Everyone needs Can Do Spice. Everyone should be having this. It's an exclusive brand for cooks at any level who want to create flavorful dishes with healing benefits that can satisfy the body and soul. Add a little spice to your life. Give Can Do Spice a try.